What is going on, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and today, my friends, I continue this series at the channel where I revisit some of my favorite builds to use in the game. This one is based around the HeartBreaker gear set. As I have been receiving some messages asking me to highlight one of my favorite versions, I don't want to waste your time. We are going to jump right into the build breakdown. And once we're done with that, I'd like to take a few moments, pass along a few tips for those of you just getting used to running with a build like this. And as always, we're going to start with a specialization. Now, you want to use Technician, and the main reason for that is because that is going to give you the ability to use the linked laser pointer, which is going to pulse every single enemy you target. Now, that means you have to have the rifle activated in your weapon skill tree, because that will give you access to the laser pointer. Then you want to pick your primary and secondary weapon as your other weapons on that tree. Do not forget to do that, because that means you will always have a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which one you're using. My primary weapon for this build is the Kingbreaker assault rifle. You can farm for it anywhere ARs are the targeted loot. I recommend hitting up the summit or countdown, and the reason it is so effective is because it has the talent perfect flatline, which amplifies weapon damage by 20% to pulsed enemies. After 2 kills, it applies pulse to the next enemy you hit. But remember, because we are using the linked laser pointer, every single enemy we target is going to be pulsed, so we do not need to worry. Now, if you do not have this, any other long-barreled assault rifle with the regular talent flatline is fine, and the reason it has to be long-barreled is because that is the only type of weapon you can equip the linked laser pointer to, which is exactly why you want to use one. Now, as far as the secondary, you can see I'm using the rock and roll shotgun. This is a PvP exclusive weapon, but you can also get it from named caches, and in the meantime, if you do not have it, the regular ACS-12 with a talent flatline will still get the job done. Moving on to the gear, starting with the mask, I'm running with Coyote's mask, and you also have the option of running with the Catharsis if you want. Both are incredibly effective in a build like this. And what's great is, let's say if you're in the middle of countdown, you realize you want to make the switch, all you got to do is switch the mask, you're good to go. It will not take a lot of time because the rest of the gear can work with both of them. Now, this mask has pack instincts, and with that talent, you and your allies gain a bonus based on the last enemy you hit. It's going to affect your crit hit chance and crit hit damage. You can see the breakdown below, and I will go over a few tips for those of you who are just getting used to this mask in a moment. Now, as we make our way to the rest of the gear, it brings us to the body armor, which is the first of 4 pieces of the HeartBreaker gear set. We are wearing all 4, so we get all of the gear set bonuses, and you can see they read as follows: 2 pieces 15% assault rifle and LMG damage, 3 pieces 15% weapon handling, and 4 pieces heartstopper, where headshots are going to apply pulse for 5 seconds. Weapon hits on pulsed enemies add a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1% weapon damage to pulsed enemies up to a max of 50 stacks. Now remember, again, because we're using the linked laser pointer, we do not need to worry about those headshots. Every single enemy you target will be pulsed. Now, because we're using the body armor, we also have the talent max BPM, which is going to increase max stacks for Heartstopper from 50 to 100. So for those of you that really want to get that extra armor and weapon damage, this definitely will help you out. Moving on, my friends, we have the holster. It's a 1 piece of Fenris, which is going to give us that 10% assault rifle damage. And on every one of these pieces, I'm trying to stack crit hit chance and crit hit damage everywhere I can. Now we have the knee pads and the gloves. 2 more pieces of the HeartBreaker gear set, again stacking that crit hit chance and crit hit damage. Now we make our way to the backpack, which is the 4th and final piece. And because we're using the HeartBreaker backpack, it also gives us access to the talent cold, which is going to increase total bonus armor gain per stack of Heartstopper from 1% to 2%, which will really help out with your survivability. As far as my skills are concerned, I'm using my 2 favorite in the game. We have the assault drone because it's a great distraction to NPC and puts out damage, and I'm using the Crusader shield. Now, as far as my numbers, you can see I'm sitting at 50% crit hit chance. Remember, the max is 60, and 105 crit hit damage, and that is going to be dependent on a few things. First of all, you need to have a Shade Watch of level 1000, and it's also going to be dependent, obviously, on the attributes you have on your gear. Now, that takes me back to talking about Coyote's mask, and one thing I strongly recommend if you're getting used to using this gear set is take a moment and use the tools we have at our disposal at the base of operations, such as the firing range, to get an idea of how this build is going to respond. So you can see what I'm doing right out of the gate is getting as close to NPCs as I possibly can, using my shotgun to getting all of those stacks. Then I switch to the Kingbreaker, which is then going to show me the type of damage I can put out with this build. Now, the other recommendation I have for those of you new and returning, or let's say you're just getting into using this gear set, is do a test run at a mission, control point, something in the game that you're familiar with and you know the timing of the NPC. And the reason I say that is because if this build does not work for for you in a situation where you know where the NPCs are going to be at any moment. It is not going to work for you in the game when things get sideways, so take your time, learn how the build responds, and as always, if you have questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know. Most of you know that one of my favorite aspects about putting these build videos together is the family that we have at the channel, so if you happen to have any tips or tricks you want to pass along to new and returning players, please let me know, as the main goal is to help out as many people as we can. On that note, I'm going to leave you with some gameplay footage. I want to thank you all for your incredible support of this channel. I sincerely appreciate the privilege of your time, and as I mention at the end of every one of these, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Got a visual on additional hostiles in the memorial compound. They're moving south. There's a gate between you. It looks closed from here.
Agent, you'll need to find a way to open that gate. Hostiles detected.